What is up, dudes and lady dudes? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we've got more Yu-Gi-Oh! News. It's been a minute, but we're finally back with something. We have a full structure deck reveal for the structure deck Freezing Chains, or the Ice Barrier structure deck that's been set to come out for a long time now, but finally excited that it is right around the corner here. This is one of those ones where we knew the new cards for a while. We just didn't know what kind of imports and interesting reprints we were going to get. So that's what we're going to be going through today. So yeah. Starting off here. Oh, we also have the OTS 15 reveals. Full OTS 15 reveals, which is really cool. Alright, starting off, we have General Wayne of the Ice Barrier, Revealer of the Ice Barrier, Speaker, Hexa Spirit, Zui Jean, Blizzed, Defender, Cryomancer, Prior, Defender, Warlock, Spellbreaker, Strategist, Dance Princess, Daisojo, General Raiho. He's my personal favorite from them as far as the Floodgate monsters go. Medium of the Ice Barrier, also a pretty good card. General Gantala, General Grunard. And then we get to some generic stuff, finally. Literally, after just 18 or 16 straight Ice Barrier monsters, we do get, or I'm sorry, 18. Genix Controller and Genix Undyne, those are actually pretty good generic cards, just adding to their accessibility, which is fine. Aqua Spirit, like a water extender. Dupe Frog and Rodent Tonin. Unfortunately, no Swap Frog in here, so it kind of feels weird that Dupe and Ronin are in here, but no Swap. But okay, Frog's becoming a little more budget as well. Fishborg Launcher, Moonling Glacia. Moonling Glacia already got like a super rare reprint like a year or two ago, so it dropped tremendously in price, but I don't know, this makes it even more cheap. Silent Angler, Cool Water Extender, Winds over the Ice Barrier, Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier, Magic Triangle of the Ice Barrier, Medallion of the Ice Barrier, that's the good one, that's like the Rhoda for them, and Mirror of the Ice Barrier. There. Now we have a couple other cards. Salvage and Surface. Yo, no jokos. These cards are actually pretty good reprints. Because Salvage just adds any two, I don't think it's any two, but it's like two water monsters with like 1500 or less attack, I want to say. Or maybe it's just two level 4, I can't remember. But it like adds two waters back from grave. Sometimes we've seen it played in like Plunder Patrol because it just gets you back like two of your Plunder Patrol monsters, which is pretty good. Gives you great follow-up and ends you with a Plunder in hand. It's really strong. And then Surface. So Surface is just Monster Reborn, not once per turn, for any level 3 or lower Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua monster. So this is one of those cards that I've made a video about before, talking about, and I've said, this card will come up. All we need is like one deck, like maybe it's a deck that like Frogs can combine with or something, and then like this card just comes up because you're just going to be like, oh, Reborn Swap Descend, or Reborn another small monster, boom, and it's just an awesome extender that you can play at 3 and play Monster Reborn, so you can play like 4 of it, and that's pretty good, right? Moving down the list, we also have Where Art Thou. This card's already been printed out the butthole as common, so I'm not that worried about that. This is probably the best reprint in the entire set, though. A Pointer of the Red Lotus. This has been a pretty popular side deck card for like the last 2 years once people rediscovered it. It essentially lets you look at your opponent's hand and banish one card for like 2 turns. They'll get the card back like at the end of their second turn from the turn you're banishing it, so it's going to be gone for a while, and it's just really good. So the idea is like if you're playing like a deck that may not love cards like Evenly Matched, Heavy Storm, or not Heavy, Lightning Storm, stuff like that, those big blowout cards, this just lets you look at your opponent's hand and then just send one away. Even if they don't have one of those cards in their hand, you just send the most like engine reliable cards. So you're just like, oh, okay, let's get rid of the best card in your hand as far as getting your engine started, and now you have to get started with like a much less interesting engine. So it's a cool card. Yeah, I've wanted it, but it's even the old common and the new super rare are still like a couple bucks, so this should make it very, very affordable. Then you have stuff like Fiendish Chain and Icebond, not worried about those. Mind Drain's interesting, although it doesn't really cost much. It's always it's always a floodgate that always comes into people's mind. They're like, oh, Mind Drain, that's pretty nasty. Heavy Storm Duster. This is cool to see I have this as a common finally. I don't think it's a super expensive card, but it's a powerful card for sure. Popping 2 back row, just 2 for 1. And then Crackdown is the last one here. Another cool generic trap that I don't think was common before this, so that may make that slightly more accessible for people. And then you finish up with all of your extra deck monsters for this set. You have Trishula, Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier, I believe that's the new one. Deloran, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier, Brionac, Gungnir, the original Trishula, and then Terror of Trishula. I'm actually not exactly sure what that card is. I don't think it's an extra deck monster. Maybe it is. I can't tell. I can't remember. But overall, I think it's pretty underwhelming for a structure deck. Like I think Konami needs to go one of 2 ways. If you're going to have a more meta structure deck, Salamangreats, Endymion, Shaddolls. I feel like there was one more that I can't remember off the top of my head. Whatever. That's not important. But like any of those structures that are actually like pretty meta relevant, like out the gate, right? And they definitely have promise in the meta game, then I don't think you need to worry as much about amazing reprints in there. But then if you're going to have a structure deck like this one that's clearly has no relevancy to the meta outside of maybe like the boss, the new Trishula boss being relevant at some point or something, I don't really see any of the actual ice barriers being like too relevant. You probably want some nice reprints, and I guess you could say like Salvage, Surface, a Pointer are nice, but like even these 3 cards that I said are like nice, like they're not expensive cards by any means, so it's really just those 3 and really not even Salvage that much, more so Surface. But I don't know, like we got Salamangreats, which were immediately a tier 1 deck, and it had Ash Blossom in it. Like what does that say for a set like this, where you look at it and you're like, wow, the reprints are okay, like a Pointer is nice, Surface and Salvage are cool, but other than that, like everything else in the entire set is just kind of like, who cares? So I don't know. I was more excited for the cyber style structure deck out of these vote winning structure decks anyway. But it is kind of a shame to see that we don't have like the evenly match that everybody has been hoping for in a structure deck, just because the card's still expensive as balls, or something else that's like crazy, right? Like making some impermanence a common, making that super affordable for everybody now. But it is what it is. I don't know. We'll have to see if any of this stuff like really matters, or maybe randomly the Ice Bears could come up in a specific deck. I don't know, but obviously time will tell, and we'll have to see if anybody can break it open. Which then takes us to our OTS Tournament Pack 15 reveals. Okay, starting off with the Ultimate Rares, we knew about Armed Dragon level 10 and Halki Fibrax, which is awesome. Halk is huge, and this Armed Dragon level 10 is a really cool collectible card. But we also get Dark Requiem Exceed Dragon. That is a popular archetype from the anime. It's a bomb of a boss monster. I mean, he's 3 monster negates pretty much when you're ranking up into him. So very, very strong, not once per turn. Very good card. I think this is a cool one, definitely. I actually was looking the other day, and I was actually thinking to myself, I was like, why does Requiem not have any like legit high printings? So that's really cool there. But I think where this set will make most of its noise is with the supers, right? So we already knew about Shaddol Dragon. That's a really cool one because he's been a staple in the Shaddol deck for so long, but never had higher than a rare printing. Zodiac Borbo. Now with Zeus, Borbo may be like the second best Zodiac extra deck monster behind Drident. So like the fact that he never had like a printing higher than rare is like still kind of like, damn. But now he finally does, which is really cool. I think that's a really smart move by Konami. Barricade Board Blocker. This one's awesome. This is such a generic card we've seen played in multiple decks. Orcus. Any deck that's playing like Auroradon. Oh, just a generic link. Or just generic links in general otherwise that just use continuous spells and traps and field spells, because this card just protects them and potentially gives you the ability to recur them while discarding free cards. Great card. I mean, this is a cool one for sure. Crossover. This is just one of those weird Fire Warrior cards. I don't think it really matters that much. Whatever. Noctivision's a cool one. That was definitely a card I was surprised was a common anyway. when it got revealed as a common, I was very surprised. I was like, this card's good. This card should be a holo. And now it is. It's very cool. Proxy Effigition, another cool link monster. Just lets you like fusion. Like it has an effect to fuse with the monsters it points to as a link monster. So it's a cool card, very niche. But I always did feel like it was one of those cards that it could come up in a deck and it kind of feel weird that it's a common. So yeah, that works. In for Noble Knight, Captain Roland. This is a cool one. He's a common. I kind of wish there was like Renaud in here because that would actually drop the price of Renaud so much. Although he's only like $10 now, I think, but still, for a deck that's like not even relevant for the metagame, like $10, bruh. Anyway, cool card is a common. Felt like it shouldn't be a common, and because the whole rest of the set of the archetype is like high rarity, so cool. Melfi Mami, another cool one that's just gonna be holo because for some reason your first boss monster is a common. So that's cool. And then probably the coolest one we already knew about this one, Dogmatica Punishment. This card's just played generically in so many different decks, even decks that don't even play Dogmatica cards in them, just because it's like popping 2, and that's so strong. So that is a really cool one. Definitely thought this card would not be common, but it was, and really happy that it's not going to be anymore. Which takes us to our commons here. Nothing really too crazy, to be honest. It's like Griffin Wing, Arm Dragon 3, 5, and 7, DDR, which is already a common, I believe, Tri-White, Shadow Vampire, Rank Up Magic, the 7th one, Amorphactor Pain, the Imagination Dracoverlord. Jesus Christ, what a name. Amorphous Persona, Windwitch Icebell, Vampire's Domain, and Mahama the Fairy Dragon. I gotta be honest, the commons are like really underwhelming for me. Like sometimes with the commons, you're like, oh, there's 2 or 3 that you're like, oh, that's just a nice reprint. I mean, that's just a $3 or $4 card. Now it's a common. Sick. I don't know if any of these are that. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, like these 3, the 7th one, the Dracoverlord, or the Amorphous Persona. I don't know those off the top of my head. I know the new Windwitch stuff is coming, but I don't think Icebell's the more expensive one anyway. I think Glassbell's the more expensive one. So it's just like weird. I don't know. Like I feel like the commons are definitely a letdown. The supers are banging, and the ultimates are pretty good. The only thing you could even say with the ultimates is that like, oh, Arm Dragon level 10 and Dark Requiem, they're a little bit specific to the duelist. Those aren't the kind of boss monsters that you're like, oh shit, let me get that because I'm gonna like that could fit into multiple decks. It's literally like you kind of have to play either Raid Raptors or Phantom Knights for Dark Requiem to make sense, or you have to specifically love Armed Dragons as a nostalgic, thing for you to make that make sense, and then obviously how it makes sense for everybody. But that's really the only thing there. I think the supers and the ultimate rares are banging. The commons kind of a letdown, but overall I think it's a pretty good OTS 15. I think a lot of people will be excited to crack these open, see what they can find. But yeah, that's going to do it for me here today, guys. Finally got some news. Been a minute. Hopefully we'll start getting more reveals like maybe some of our deck build pack archetypes, our last 2 archetypes revealed. We might get some stuff for the next core set revealed fairly soon, and some other stuff as well. So stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you haven't yet, of course, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.